Today I'm going to give you all the formulas that you're going to need for the entire unit. So this is going to be a great reference tool. Try not to lose these. These are the first couple of pages in your new packet. First thing I'm going to talk about is perimeter of all shapes. It's not a formula. In order to find the perimeter of all the shapes, you will add up all the sides. I am emphasizing the word all, because even if someone only gives you 2 side lengths, you need to find the other 2 or 5, however many sides that you have, and add them all together. I'm going to give you a couple of quick pictures here. If I have a rectangle, I'm going to squiggle in all these sides to show you what is required to find perimeter, and then I'm going to put these little plus signs all around the shape. Next shape would be a triangle. Again, I'm going to show you squiggling all around the shape just to prove to you that you need all the sides to find perimeter. And then I'm going to give you an example of what we call an irregular shape. Again, you would need to add up all the sides to find perimeter. And again, it's adding. Perimeter is the outside of the shape. Next shape we have is a parallelogram. The formula is capital A equals B times H. Capital A stands for area, lowercase b stands for base, and the lowercase h stands for height. In geometry, every formula's variable stands for something very specific. So we have the formula for area of a parallelogram equals base times height. I'm going to show you 2 pictures of a parallelogram. The first one I'm going to show you has the height drawn down on the inside of the shape. It forms a perpendicular line to the base. It is a dashed line, and we label it with an H. And the bottom is the base. That's when the height is inside the shape. Sometimes you will see where a picture is drawn with the height outside of the shape. Base is still at the bottom. This time they will show you the height extending out from the base, and it's labeled with the H. You do not count the dashed line going from the base out to the height. This part right here, you do not count that as part of your base length. Next formula, area of a triangle, is 1/2 base times height. Again, the capital A means area, lowercase b is base, and the lowercase h is height. When we read 1/2, it really means to divide by 2. So you'll multiply first and divide by 2. Picture of a triangle with labels. Here's my base. Again, the height forms a 90-degree or perpendicular line to the base, and it's labeled with an H. Next, we have a very specific triangle, a right triangle. Same formula, area equals 1/2 base times height. Picture just looks different. We have our height forming a perpendicular line to the base, and we have our base. Next shape is a square. Square equals area equals side to the second power. So S in this case means side. In a square, since all sides are the same length, we can use the exponent. S to the second power is also S times S, to refresh your memory on how to use exponents. rectangle area formula. Area equals lowercase l representing length, lowercase w representing width. Area equals length times width. And there's my picture to show you where you would get the information for your formula. Next we have a trapezoid. A trapezoid has a really complicated formula. Area equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times h. So again, the lowercase b's stand for bases, and the lowercase h stands for height. Picture of a trapezoid. We have a height inside forming a perpendicular line to the base. One base will be labeled B1, one base will be labeled B2. Irregular shapes. You will split the shape up into shapes that you can use formulas. So all the formulas I've been giving you, those are what you want to try to break your shape up into. So if I had this shape, it's a little off with my drawing, but I would want to extend this line over here. I'm going to kind of fudge this a little bit. And I made a triangle. I know the formula for triangle, so I would use 1/2 base times height for that part. And then this would be a rectangle. And I would use length times width for that part. And then I would add those up. So once you find the areas of the separate shapes, you add their areas together to get the total area of the irregular shape. Next, we have volume. There are two formulas for volume, depending on what you are given. We have volume equals length times width times height. Those are what the three variables represent with the L, W, H. And then we also have volume equals area of the base times height. This capital B means area of the base. And I will show you a picture of that. And then H still represents height. So volume deals with three-dimensional shapes. Here's my length, my width, and my height for this formula. And for the next formula, you're actually given the area of the base, and you just have to multiply it by the height. Surface area. Capital S, capital A equals 2 length times width plus 2 length times height plus 2 width times height. Might sound complicated, but I'm going to give you a visual. You have your length, your width, and your height on your three-dimensional rectangular prism. You're going to multiply the length times width, multiply the answer by 2. You're going to multiply the width times height, multiply your answer by 2. You're going to multiply the length times height, multiply your answer times 2. And the last thing you will do is add up all of those answers. And lastly, you would have a surface area with nets. First thing you will do is to draw a net. A net is a flattened shape. Imagine unfolding a cereal box. What does it look like when it's flat? So it's a flattened shape, and you use formulas. So if I start off with my rectangular prism, and now I'm going to flatten it out. I have a top, a side, a bottom, a side, and then the flaps. And it looks like I would be using my rectangular formula to find the entire surface area.